The Flying Lion says,
boys, hell is real.
2023 Supporter Shield champs.
So glad that I can be back with people who know that it's a Flying Lion.
It shows how much we all love this club.
Yeah, just a fan of the sport, you know.
It's definitely tougher to be an academy player than it is a pro.
In this club, you don't play just for the club. You play for the fight.
Jersey swap, car of the week, trivia question of the week. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Flying Lion podcast on an eventful week for FC Cincinnati. Transfers in, transfers out. Couple of unfortunate results for the boys, but next week is a new week, Sam. We got more games coming at you.
Yep. Like you said, next week's a new week. You know, that's all that can really be said right now. We've got 8 games ahead of us now, 9 games still left in the season. I think eight games, MLS season. So we still got some wiggle room. We've got dominoes that can fall our way. But I mean, Ryan, we control our own destiny, right? As long as we win, right? Usually,
sure,
things work out, right? Somebody gets a draw here or there. We're only 2 points back right now, so that's one loss away from being able to take the top spot. So, yeah, like you said, not the best of weeks, but we've got some promising things happening, like you said, transfer wise. But Ryan, heading into this Leagues Cup, this last matchup, man, not much, hope, coming into this match, given the other results.
Yeah, we'll cover the Leagues Cup match. We'll go into the Charlotte second half. We'll talk about some transfer news, FCC2, and a preview for the Portland match that we do have this coming Saturday as well. But like Sam mentioned, round 3, unfortunately the dominoes didn't fall exactly the way that we wanted, if you want to say it that way. I think a lot of the results, especially I think was it Orlando's match, they dominated. I think Miami advanced. The Columbus result, certainly didn't help. So there's a lot of things that didn't really go our way. And if you look into the lead-in, we're playing Chivas, this past Thursday. We had to get 4 goals to advance, and it seemed almost insurmountable, considering we hadn't had a 4-goal win, in a few years now. So,
well, last year.
Was it last year?
The Miami game.
Oh, true. Yeah, 6-1. Yeah, good call. But yeah, this one was a wacky one, lineup wise, rain delay wise, just with the fact that we weren't really necessarily going for it, based on what we had seen. But you still got to play. So, we did have that long rain delay. Each of the 3 all-time meetings between these two teams have had a lengthy weather delay. So it's destined, it seems to be. The 3-1 scoreline almost happened as well. So
yeah, the football gods, Ryan, they're speaking to us.
Something about it. I mean, all of these matches have been at TQL, and it seemingly has done the same thing. But yeah, like I said, to set the stage again, we needed a 4-goal win. We had heard from Pat, they had kind of already, ahead of time predetermined what kind of lineup that they were having. I don't know necessarily if I believe that. You definitely see the results ahead of time. You see the guys with knocks. You see other guys that are coming back from injury. And you have to say, hey, we got to, maybe shift our attention towards the Sunday match. But Sam, take me through what you see when you see the lineup rolled out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously huge, just wow. I mean, we saw this lineup and was like, oh, okay, it's even more rotated than we thought. Almost every single position you're going, well, that's a new player right there. Is either never played there before, or we've got some few guys starting that have never started before. So yeah, like you have your heavily rotated squad. And we had Stefan Trilla and Ender Echenike up top being our number 9s up there. And then you've got Kenji underneath them kind of as our 10. Then you got Steven Anunga in the middle, Abbas Powell in the back with Flores, Hagglund, Hadebe, and then Brad Smith, and then Evan Laurel back as the keeper as he was in the first Leagues Cup game. But yeah, Ryan, I mean, like I had said, 3 players making their first career starts. What do we make of that?
Good opportunity. This is kind of what we wanted to see out of this tournament, ultimately. part of me, again, like from last episode, wanted to not really care about it, but when the players cared, then I kind of shifted my attention. But then you see this one come out and you're like, all right, I mean, it's good for the young players to play. A Chivas team that by all means, was pretty much knocked out of the tournament at that point, but was still playing for the fans. I mean, you see a pretty solid supporting section from
a lot
Chivas.
of people I talked to were saying like very close to 50-50, like as far as attendance and sound.
Yeah. No, I mean, and it was a great atmosphere from that standpoint for these young players to play. This was Nick Hagglund's 150th appearance for FC Cincinnati. He got the captain's armband on the night for the first time since October 6th of 2019 against DC United. So special to see, our hometown boy get the armband always, but for 150, shout out to Nick. He's been nothing short of incredible in his FCC career. But yeah, Sam, in this one early on, like I think we actually had some decent chances. Kenji, has a look at goal that gets deflected. And then I believe there was a header that Nick Hagglund almost put on goal as well. So, we almost scored again. That seems to be the theme of the week. But, comes down to the 25th minute. And poor Brian Anunga, man, like 2 VAR checks on the week for this guy. The first one gets called for PK in this moment with an arm shove, if you want to call it. It's a body-to-body action.
Yeah.
It's in the box, so the guy's going to flop like a fish, out of water. And that's traditionally what we see from some of those players. But yeah, unfortunately, he gets called for that one. And then Efren Alvarez comes up, a former LA Galaxy player, slots it away. They go up 1-0. But the bright spot, Sam, if you want to say it, was Ender. Ender for all means, the whole week looked very solid. But man, that guy's got some wheels.
Yeah, definitely showed off the pace for sure.
Let's see the top speed, for him compared to some of the other MLS guys. I need to see that clock. It's got to be up there.
No, yeah, we see that from sometimes on Apple TV. They'll do like the average speed or distance covered, stuff like that. So yeah, I think that would have been an easy choice right there.
Yeah, the breakaway he had through the middle of the park, playing it out wide. In this match, obviously we'll get to the Charlotte one, but he looks solid. Gets to half, we're down a goal. It had been like such a long delay. By the time we get to the second half, it's fairly late by that point. So 57th minute though comes around, and Hadebe, he's trying to flick the ball on. I see what he's doing, but it's not the place to be getting cheeky with it. Like, just clear it long if you're gonna do anything.
Well, he's on the sideline there, right? So like you already have like one side of you taken away. So let's not try and force anything when you don't have one way to go, right? You only have 2 directions to go.
Yeah, it's a giveaway. It leads to an easy goal and 2-0 from there. But the boys had some fight. The young Garys, we see Andrés Dávila, come in. By all means, an incredible prospect. At 18 years old, he gets a goal. We get one back. He, at 18 years old, is the youngest player to score for FC Cincinnati, with Dado being the one before. But I believe that was in, was it Champions Cup? So this one comes in Leagues Cup. I don't think do you have the stat for the youngest in MLS play? I don't know if I know that off the top of my head there.
I don't know, but I'm going to guess MLS play would be at least 16.
At least 16 for FC Cincinnati.
Oh, for FC Cincinnati MLS play? It's probably still Dado, just a little bit older.
Right. Yeah, maybe 19 from last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Davia has a nice little flick. Alvis Powell whips it across and he flicks it near post past the keeper. A little bit too late. That was the one goal that we see, a good opportunity there. We had, I think, maybe one more chance that gets deflected wide past that. But I don't know, Sam. We obviously get knocked out of Leagues Cup. I'm mixed on this and how I feel. Like, seeing how strenuous this schedule is going to be. Like, we would have had a match now, middle of the week. Then we would have had to play in Portland, past that.
Another midweek.
It just sounds like a lot on the boys. And, obviously we see some of the first team players come in down the stretch in this game. So it wasn't like they had complete rest, if we look at that, but it was definitely better to have them, fresher. And overall, I know we talked about it last time. We had some impressions of it. Has your opinion changed of Leagues Cup? I think I would say about the same. It's better than it was.
Yeah.
Glad to see some of the fight. The margins are a little bit thinner, and having to be perfect to move on. The teams that you see move on were nearly perfect, and they got rewarded.
Yeah, I kind of feel the exact same that I did last week, as far as, like you said, just the 4 teams out of the MLS that made it, they deserve to make it, and the teams that didn't, like, now you guys can all go focus on MLS play, right? And you don't have to worry about, that strenuous schedule coming up. But those 4 teams now get the opportunity to go win a trophy, and that's ultimately why we have this tournament. And so yeah, for FC Cincinnati, they got to real quickly kind of get ready for Charlotte.
That's an interesting point. Like, I'm looking at the teams that, advance from the MLS standpoint, and Orlando, LA, Miami, and Seattle. Seattle, if you look at the Western Conference, is 4th right now. LA is in last.
I was about to say that's the one that stands out the most.
Miami's in 6th, and Orlando's in 4th. So it is kind of interesting. Like, it's not the top echelon of teams, that we see in the MLS, but fairly mixed in good squads. So, whether they're trying to go all at it, is what I'm getting at. Maybe the draws are a little bit different. I feel like arguably, like, Chivas is a pretty decent team. Juarez shouldn't be as good of a team. Monterrey is a good team.
They played they punched above their weight class, if you will, for them.
Yeah. So I think, all in all, solid, feel okay about it.
Better.
Didn't get a result, we didn't get a trophy out of it, which, is always disappointing, but we got some youth to get some experience there, and hopefully they can build from that moment is what I would take out of it. But now all the attention turned towards Sunday, the 10th anniversary match / weekend. We had, I think, the 5K the day before, that ended in Nippert. Pretty cool to see that happen. Some of the alumni guys, a part of that as well. And then everything just surrounding this match day 28 against Charlotte. It was such a cool thing to see, with all of the homages to the former teams, to, being at Nippert. We saw the Nippert scoreboard, which was a nice touch. And just, I think it would have been really cool to see a throwback kit. I think that would have been, the cherry on top.
Yeah.
But the one city, one club tifo, Sam, we got to shout out the Forge Cincy for that.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable. Where would you rank this tifo of all time? I think every time we have to move it up the rankings, because it's just been like they've topped each and every one that they've had.
Probably number 2 and number 3.
Okay.
Probably up there. I would say I like the smokestacks were really cool on, each side of the lion. And then obviously the smokestacks having 2015, 2025 on it to pay homage to that 10-year. I thought it was really cool. And Ryan, I know we'll touch on the Tifu later, for the alumni match. But to me, seeing both of those, it kind of paid homage to that very first one, right? By having the lion being the center of everything. So I thought that was really cool.
That's a good point. We do see that one later on, and you can see just how much it's built in, the rigging system, having the coordination in the Bailey. We see the orange and blue stripes behind it. Just such a nice touch to it. I think the smoke in front of it was a nice thing too. For me, I think it's one of the bigger ones we've had. The one in the Eastern Conference semifinal. No, it would have been quarterfinal. The one before against Red Bull was, I believe, one of the bigger ones we've had. Yep. And that was, I would say, probably arguably my favorite. I think the one last year, the Welcome to Cincy, was probably the favorite as well. This was probably second or third. I agree with that. But yeah, shout out to them for that and for the one later on. But the FCC alumni, Sam, they led the march in all the way, up by Rheingeist. I think it was at Northern Row. They all gathered there. They all marched down together. It kind of paid a cool homage to, what we did in the olden days. You'd see some of the guys join the march, maybe if they were injured or they just wanted to be a part of it. And you got to see that again. Unfortunately, it rained on everyone once you got to Washington Park, which kind of added to the allure of it. And It was very interesting, though. It's like the one time that it rained the entire day was right when everyone was marching. But yeah, that, and with the fact that the 2018 USL season champs, we got a permanent banner that was added to the stadium. You hear about that before the game. Announced that it's going to be in the stadium. The question would be, is it going to stay on the concourse? Are they going to find a place for it to hang? I think it, at least for now, is in the concourse over by the team store. But honestly, it's a really cool touch, I think, because, a lot of the guys, if you ask them, there's all this talk about the first trophy, in team history being Supporter Shield from 2023. But these guys are always like 2018, we were the first ones. We did it. So I think that's cool to honor them.
If I remember correctly, Ryan, I think that thing's on the wall. Like it's solid.
Oh, is it really?
Like, yeah, like attached to the wall. I believe.
Okay.
I believe like it's a permanent banner. Like it'll forever be right there next to the team store.
Okay.
At least that's what it looked like. I didn't go up and touch it myself, but yeah, it looks like it's there permanently.
Okay.
To like you said, pay homage.
Yeah, no, it was a nice touch. I think, the sword pull by Kendall Waston was pretty special. But you had all this build up for it, and then the team had to go play. Really that is what everyone was thinking, is like, man, this is really cool. This is nostalgic.
Let's get a dub, though.
We got to go and perform. So, we see the lineup come out, and by all means, this is the best lineup that we had available to date. Denke's back on the bench for the first time since the Hell is Real. So, arguably, I think it was almost about a month away or a month apart from that. But Celentano, Orishano, Engel, Miazga, Robinson, Yedlin, Buka, Anunga, Evander, and then we do see Dado and Kamara back up top. So, I felt like it was going for it. Obviously, the first part of this match, you see us honestly like having a lot of good chances. I think their keeper, Kalina, elite goalkeeper in the MLS. He won Keeper of the Year, I believe, last year. But he kept Charlotte in this game. You see the save on Evander's free kick. You see Luca Orishano with a shot that sails over the bar, but could have tested the keeper, some too. Evander had a brilliant skill on that play, by the way, that led to that, flicking the ball around the player. But the buildup was there. The energy was there. Dado had an unbelievable chance that was saved in the upper 90, like 39th minute. So the first half, I mean, it wasn't like we didn't have those chances. It's unfortunate we didn't come away with any because, clearly later on we needed it. And that's the difference, is those half chances, it wins games in the MLS in the finest of margins. And, we can look back on those now and say, we got to do better.
Yeah, I mean, we'll touch on it here in, a couple minutes, but yeah, the chances, especially in the first half, got to convert those. And then, going into half, you're almost like, thank God it's halftime, because I think like there before half, Charlotte was getting a couple chances as well. And, I think just based off the faces of some of the FC guys, like they're like, just blow the whistle. Like, come on, and like let's get this thing in halftime.
I think part of that too is Luca Orishano goes to put a cross in the box and feels his hammy tighten up. I mean, I saw it clear as day right to begin with, and he's walking off the field and he's not really able to extend through that leg. So to me, clear hamstring injury or tightness. Was it cramps? It's too early in the match to say it was necessarily a cramp. He shouldn't be getting a cramp that early on.
No. It was hot. Yeah.
It was warm, 100%. Yeah. But anyway, situationally, he's off the pitch. He had to be off for 2 minutes. You're in extra time. You don't want to sub Ender. Ender's warming up, because if you sub, you lose one of your sub periods for the second half. You only get 3 in the match. So wait it out. You bunker in. I would agree with you. I think the players wanted to see it out because we're down a man, which was kind of foreshadowing in some ways. It turned into a different team for the last couple minutes of that half. But unfortunately, we have to flip the halves, and Luca can't go on. Again, it was hammy tightness. We'll see what that looks like for the next couple of weeks. But Ender comes in the match, and I put this gif out of him being the Flash, man. This guy's incredible.
Absolutely. Going down that left side of the field was just crazy. I believe, within the first 5 minutes, he's putting 2 chances in front of goal for us and be able to create stuff with his feet. And on one of them, he dispossesses one of the Charlotte players and just takes it and goes. Which once again, just having the wherewithal to just, hey, it's me, and I'm gonna ride with it. Now, he probably needs to dish it on the chance in the 50th minute. He puts a shot on goal. Great save by the keeper, kind of saves it with his shoulder. You and I kind of saw it differently, right? Dotto's wide open right outside the 6 there, and probably could have put it in pretty easy.
I think this guy's got unbelievable talent. His speed, is top tier. You see pretty elite defenders for Charlotte, and he actually gets a guy to pull his hammy actually on this play.
On that play, yeah.
He goes right by him. And what's funny to me is, like, he's just like a ball of energy, and off the bench, like, how are these guys supposed to, keep up with him? Yeah. You see his relationship that he has with Evander and how they connect. I think that has become apparent now over a few matches, that they kind of know where each other are going. Evander's been able to find him through on several of these plays, but there's a couple moments where he gets the ball out wide and he tries to force the issue. Like, he's always looking to go forward into attack. Like, if there's anything I can say about Ender, is he's fearless. He's maybe, arguably the shortest guy on the field, by all means, I think, the least built as well, but he is fearless. He will go right at him, make him try to step in on you. And there's a few times where I think Evander's calling for the ball because he might be open in the center, and he just sees Ender go around the guy, and he's like, oh man, maybe I should get in the box and look for this cross. So moving forward, I think he has that really good instinct to press. He creates a good opportunity. We need to see that final ball, that final finish there. And, not to blame the guy on it. I thought he had a decent half with the chances, but when the game flips, obviously with the moment we're going to talk about, but even prior to that, you don't see as much of a defensive positioning for him. I think, Luka is obviously not necessarily a left back. Like you had mentioned this yesterday, but he understands his positioning. When the ball is back on our side, you got to get back. You got to track that guy. And there were several times where I feel like Engel was put on an island where he had the guy out, going around him and overlapping him. And I think their coach, their manager had seen that. There's several times they attacked down our left flank where they overload that side, and it creates a mismatch, and there's balls into the box that created trouble for us. So I really think we need to emphasize him getting back, as much as he is pressing forward. It's just, he's never played that transition, position. He's been more of a traditional winger than anything. So it'll come with time. He's young, but I'm seeing flashes that I'm pleased with, and that he can play at this level. Because sometimes you don't know, coming from those leagues, how's that going to translate? But he's got really good instincts with that. But all that to be said, we had 2 of his chances, Sam, and I think a Yedlin header potentially as well. But 66 minute comes around, and what a weird play this is. So Buka gets pulled down outside the box. A shot goes in on Roman. It's deflected out. A ball's played across. Zaha slides in on Anunga. It's a foul. Like, I think the MLS commentator says, oh, he's battling, No, it's a late tackle. Yeah. He's clearly fouled on this play. The ball is out in front of him, so he doesn't have possession of the ball necessarily. Then he steps on the guy. That's a red card. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that he got fouled before, it's an egregious play. But you got to call that foul before. And the explanation we get from the pool report saying, there was a wait and see period. What is advantage then? Advantage is a wait and see about possession moment. That's by definition of what it is. So how can you say it's a waiting and seeing moment? And then he calls it wrong. He points for Charlotte's free kick and then openly admitted to Matt Miazga that he made the wrong call. So I don't understand. What is he doing?
Yeah.
If you don't make that, like, it's just absolutely mind-boggling how he waits and sees, but it's not advantage, then calls it the wrong way, but then they say, well, you need to go look at this. And because the play is allowed to go on after the foul, then you see the egregious thing. So somebody likened this online. I think Laurel might have put it out there to if somebody, punched a player after the play, but the foul wasn't called yet or something like that. Like, yeah, it's clearly red, but the fact that the play was allowed to advance led to that chance for him to step on him.
Yeah.
So the foul needs to be called. That's on the referee. That's his mistake. And he calls it the wrong way to begin with. So nothing should have even been allowed to advance that way. It was absolutely ridiculous. Everyone in the stadium was perplexed why we got the ball, on the free kick too, since he had called it the opposite way and we get a red card, but we get the ball back.
Yeah. So that was the big thing of like, not only was it miscommunicated on the field, right? But it was also miscommunicated post game when you see Pat saying, "Oh, Pat's going, oh yeah, like, he called advantage." And then you look at the ref, post game, his match notes, and the ref was like, "No, I didn't call advantage. It was like you said, a waiting and seeing period." Like,
what does that mean?
And then once again, miscommunication with Miazga going like, "Yeah, I actually did get that call wrong, and it's your guys' ball, but we just took your guy out for a red card." All right.
I think they'd need to explain better than what was explained in the pool report, because it's absolutely ridiculous that our players off the pitch, knowing that the ref made the wrong direction for the call, allowed the play to see, what would happen or unfold, but it wasn't called advantage. What is advantage then?
Yeah.
And if it's so, and let's think about it this way. If you want to say it's advantage, like he doesn't have the ball. So what are you waiting on seeing?
Yeah, it doesn't have possession anymore.
It's a foul. Just call the foul.
Yeah, he was dispossessed because he got fouled.
Or go and admit that you're wrong. If you're going to go and review it, review the fact that there was a foul before it, and guess what? We ended up with the ball. It doesn't make any sense. And honestly, it's very frustrating because for a solid 66 minutes, we were in pretty decent control of the match.
Ryan, like we had touched on, right? As soon as this happened, like, this is a supporter shield defining decision.
Hey, potentially, right? The margins are so thin at this point. There's 8 matches left. This is the closest race we've seen in supporter shield in the Eastern Conference ever. And you take away our player. Granted, all of this to be said is you still have to play. You still have to score. We had moments to create. I mean, we can say it all we want, and this changes the match. You still have to go out and do it. And for me, this moment happens, and immediately what goes on is a little perplexing as well. So Kai Kamara comes off the pitch. Dado comes off the pitch. Brad Smith goes in, and Steven Jimenez comes in. And you put Evander as your center striker. So when you're down a man, I get having speed up top and maybe playing the ball through. We hadn't proven to that point to be able to beat them over the top, but we had been proven to see Ender beat him on the side.
Yeah, and you put
Why
Ender
are you
up
putting
top.
your shortest player who isn't physical in the center as a lone striker? And then so we get scored on, in the 85th minute, and then he brings Denke on. Then why have Denke warm up for 20 minutes on the sideline but not bring him in? That's the thing that perplexes me.
Yeah, like you said, if he was ready to go in the second half, right, as soon as that injury happens, why not just put Denke in?
I don't get it.
Yeah.
What injury are you referring to?
No, I'm saying like Denke is coming back from injury, right?
Oh,
but
I see. Yeah.
But if he was healthy enough to come on,
well, I think honestly, Pat's going to say he's on a minute restriction. That's probably what he's going to say. But why have him warming up on the sideline for that long in the chance that you need him? But then you go down a goal, and then all of a sudden things change. Like, why not go for it and have that guy that could be that hold up person and a true striker who knows how to play that position? That was perplexing to me. But hey, look, you still got to play. And I think the whole team was deflated from that moment, because past that, they just had chance after chance after chance. And it was a little frustrating because you felt the team, you felt the energy in the stadium. Everyone was really upset about a lot of the calls. Like, none of the calls were really going our way. There's moments where Evander's getting upset and getting cards now as well. And it just didn't feel like the ball was rolling our way.
Ref didn't have control of the game
sometimes
either.
in soccer. It's just, there's moments, like we said, like that just change everything in a game where like one goal decides everything potentially. And it's just super unfortunate. Again, like we got to score ahead of that. But, you can't tell me you didn't feel something coming prior to that.
No. Yeah. And it was, like you said, it was building, like you said, down that, especially when they were down their right wing, right? And this is where the goal comes from, right? They cross it in from their right wing, and we try and clear it a couple of times. Zaha just happens to get, a good strike on it and gets Roman back post, not being able to cover that gap. And, he's giving it to our fans, right? That have been heckling him, for most of the game. But like I said, Ryan, earlier, we've got, 1.7 XG on this. They had 0.5, 17 to their 8 shots as well.
One more time, 17 shots for us.
Yeah.
To their 8. How many shots came after the red card?
Probably about like 1, if
One?
that. Yeah.
1 or 2?
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be ways where you have to battle back as well. And I just don't think the message was quite there on how to handle those moments too. I mean, you got to be prepared for everything. So, unfortunately, bad result, just with it leaves a bad taste in your mouth with it being the 10-year, anniversary of the club, and you lose like that, like at home, like it's just, but you got some favorable results in the East. We had seen Philly tie, Nashville lost. So you're second in the East, only 2 points back, third in Supporter Shield, a tie, I guess, technically, for second with San Diego, but they have the goal advantage. It's fine margins like this that set the season, but we're still in striking distance.
Doable.
I hope at the end of the season, we're not looking at this moment and saying what could have been, if we ended up with 3 points in this one. But hey, 3 straight losses in all competitions for the first time since September through October of last year, actually. So it's been a little bit since that. This team likes to bounce back. I still don't believe in league play. I don't think in the MLS this year we've lost 2 straight. So
no.
I'm looking forward to a big response. Shout out to Roman Celentano, Sam. He became FC Cincinnati's all-time leader in minutes played. Guy's just been around for a lot of different moments, and it's have added up. I mean, he's just been consistently in goal, which has been fun to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, Roman, he's been a mainstay, and he's been our number one keeper, and will continue to be. As we've got him signed probably through 27, 28, I think 28, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'll be around for a while, which is nice. Going to, keep extending that legacy, in FC Cincinnati lore. But Ryan, we had some, storylines in this one, mainly being commissioner was at our game, talking about the potential of an MLS All-Star game coming to Cincinnati. What do we make of that?
It's funny that Don Garber's at this match, and then you just see what unfolds in front of you, for this. It's like, really? And it was Anunga's birthday. Let's not forget to say that one as well. Yeah. What a birthday gift that was.
Here's a red cake.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. But yeah, no, Don Garber, says at some point, we're going to have an all-star match. Next year it is actually going to Charlotte, of course. But then since the beginning, they said they've been committed to bringing it. It's just a matter of when we want it, and they'll organize the timing of it. So in my opinion, again, it all comes down to when this district, north of the stadium is going to be ready. I think once you have that set up, then you're going to be seeing a lot of fun stuff going on, inside, outside, around the whole, grounds of TQL. So I'm excited for that. He made other comments about the team and being a small market, but, outperforming, being a small market. It's like, dude, look at where we've been for the last several years.
Come on.
Look at the attendance. Look at everything we got, man.
Small market. Just because we're going by cities, right? You go by cities when you say small market.
Go by support.
Yeah, go by support. Go by like the attention in the league. Yeah, exactly.
Merch sales, all of it.
Come on, put some respect on it, Don.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting, but that was a storyline. The other one would be that there's 8 matches left in the MLS regular season play. The margins are fine, and the ref decisions, like, how could this change some of the outcome of what we see? I hope this is not, again, a continuous thing, obviously. we can't let it be that way. Like, why even, let it get to that point? Go out, seize the moment, do what we got to do. If you really kind of like, from a coaching standpoint, if you're Pat Noonan, say like, you guys have 8 games to go and win, a title. So go for it. And part of that comes from health. Part of that comes from getting the new guys, up and ready as well. But by all means, like, how many games do we have at home now? I think it was
6 out of the
9.
Yeah.
So now it's 5 out of 8, left are at home. There's a perfect opportunity to go and do it. I don't care. Like, the teams are pretty solid that we're going to be playing, but it's a great opportunity, and I'm excited to see that push for it. But, we got that bad taste out of our mouth, Sam. The 10-year anniversary alumni match followed this one, and was kind of honestly in a nice moment to make us, forget what we had just seen from the game before. So 2 15-minute halves in this one, some former players that we had shouted out. Go check out the lineups for this. Several legends from, first year all the way through some of the MLS squads. The 2019 Gary Tifo, the Kings of the Queen City that we rocked in that first home game against Portland, was there. So that was really cool to see. A decent amount of people stayed. I wouldn't say a ton. I wish there was maybe a little bit more. Maybe the result beforehand changes that. But what a game it was. You see the white team goes up 2-0. You see Manu Ledesma doing his thing. Is he still available? Can we sign him to a contract? And you also see GB, of course, get the opening goal. And then you see Jimmy McLaughlin get a goal and Emery Welshman with the brace. So a 3-2 victory for the blue team. Sam, compared to some community matches that we had seen, abroad, what was your overall impressions of this one? Were you surprised by the quality? It was some pretty good quality on the pitch.
I will say, I want to say that the standout player for us, I think, as far as, coming into this game, not really, even thinking about the Kadeem showing up with the fitness. He had his own squad over there on, I believe, the first financial side over there. And yeah, the fitness was really good for some of these guys. Obviously, Ledesma is a guy that, is still playing in his
it was
own
unfair
UPSL.
to see him
Yeah, very unfair. Yeah. But yeah, it was, call it what it is, glorified men's league match, right? But it was still good to see a lot of those guys back into it. I know some players, like our very own trainer Austin Berry, had a decent match until the end when he was trying to out sprint somebody down the right side, and just he pulled up a little bit, Ryan. And I believe pre-match to you, I was kind of making the joke of like, oh yeah, if something happens to him this game, he's definitely going to get some crap at practice, probably on Monday or Tuesday from the guys. And lo and behold, he did just that.
He's definitely going to get some slack from especially Nick Hagglund, I'm sure. But yeah, it was cool again to see all these guys out there. I don't know if there's something about, these matches, you see like this one, obviously Austin does this. Sean Casey pulled his hamstring playing for Savannah Bananas. So what's going on with these hamstrings of these?
I will say, Ryan, do you think, was there any connection to this game for the FCC Foundation or anything like that? Any proceeds or anything like that?
I can't remember if
because I know for this game, right? All beverages were 50% off or something like that.
Yep.
Or half off. So I wonder if that those proceeds went to the foundation. I think something like that would have been cool.
The community day after, so today, I think they had a golf outing, and some of the proceeds, went to that as well. But by all means, what a cool weekend that was. If I had to recap, the 10th anniversary, it was very special. It was cool. It was nostalgic. I got to see a lot of faces or names that I hadn't, even thought of in a long time.
Yeah.
To see the guys play in TQL, I don't think a single player had actually played a competitive match in the stadium. That was also special to see, seeing some of the guys rock, the new kits. It was really special. I think a lot of people appreciated that we do this, and in the future, just to see how this evolves.
One player really enjoyed it, and that was Tim Ream. Tim Ream was out there watching the alumni match as well.
Tim Ream
Yeah.
was standing in the tunnel watching the match. It was kind of bizarre, actually.
Well, and then
maybe he had some connection.
First team guys, Denke, Alvis Powell out there,
Yeah.
Hagglund out there as well, supporting. So by this time, while you guys are listening to, we have posted a recap video of the 10th anniversary night. So go check that out when you can. But Ryan, any thoughts left on the 10th anniversary night?
I think we covered it. Yeah.
So to roll into the trivia of the week, then presented by Goals TV, Ryan, kind of going off of the unfortunate red card that was Anunga. When was the last time FC Cincinnati was shown a red card this season, and which player?
Man, that's a tough one.
Or has it even happened? Or was this the first? Or yeah.
I feel like we had one, and I want to say it was a center back. I feel like, I almost wanted to say Hidebe, but I think I'm gonna lock in Miles Robinson. For some reason, his name sticks out.
All right, Ryan's going Miles Robinson. We'll see what it is on the other side.
Hey everyone, just a quick message from Ryan and Sam here at the Flying Lion Podcast. We wanted to share some exciting news with you. The Flying Lion Podcast has officially partnered with Chatterbox Sports. We are very excited to be a part of the Chatterbox community, as they have proven to give you the very best coverage of Cincinnati sports thus far.
For those who are new to the Flying Line Podcast, we cover FC Cincinnati news, game recaps, analysis, and unique segments such as our trivia question of the week, jersey swap of the week, card of the week. Give us a listen on our post-match shows on every away game on Chatterbox YouTube and our weekly episodes wherever you get your podcast. Thank you again for your support.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks again for joining us tonight in a celebration of what was for the 10-year anniversary of FC Cincinnati. Not a memorable week by any means, to remember what this week was, but let's remember the alumni match. Let's remember all of that stuff. The matches, we'll forget about it and we'll move on because there's bigger and better things to come. But not a great week. We'll start with our cards this week, Sam.
Yeah, so card of the week for me is just Lucho Acosta leaving the MLS, Ryan. He is now transferring to Fluminense in Brazil. He departs Dallas for reportedly about $4 million plus. He's leaving 6 months after he joined from FC Cincinnati for $5 million. And the owner of FC Dallas was kind of saying, his legacy in the MLS is undeniable. His chapter was shorter than we imagined, but they respect Lucho's desire to go closer to home, in which that was something he wanted to do, this past offseason. But yeah, we've probably seen the last of Lucho in the MLS. What a run it was. And we wish our club legend kind of the best of luck down in South America. But Ryan, one of our guys that we had on earlier, this past season or earlier this season in Jose Tellez, huge FC Dallas supporter. I kind of wrote down some of the things that he had to say about it. He said, anyone who's actually watched Dallas this season knows that Lucho has been a problem for this team, to say the least. Getting him out is a win-win for both sides. He said, selling makes sense if the piece just doesn't fit and it's evident early on. Better to move on while the market value is still relatively high.
He's not wrong. I mean, especially based on his age. I still think Lucho in a certain system works well.
And it could have been San Jose.
Yeah, that was the other team that was, looking at him here recent, as well. But dating back to the beginning of the season when he moved on from us, San Jose was looking to bring him in as well. And
Bruce
said,
Arena,
you got problems? Bruce Arena can fix it.
Yeah.
Bob the Builder version of the MLS. But I just feel like it's a weird thing that he had, if you look back at his career highlights, they were showing it on the MLS sites, on social media. It's all FC Cincinnati highlights. Maybe the Wayne Rooney cross to him for the goal, but everything else is FCC. Because let's be honest, his most memorable years in his whole career were in Cincinnati.
Yep. So
it was special. He had a good run in the league. He didn't work out in Dallas, Sam. And I think everyone there that was excited had seen what we had seen in glimpses, and it had just kind of unfolded. Was that a timing of things? Probably. He played 23 matches for the club this season. He had 5 goals for Dallas, but at the end, he was kind of going at it with the supporters, and that's just never going to end well. Look at how it ended with us. So, you can't throw the GM under the bus. You can't throw the supporters under the bus. How is that going to work out down in Brazil? Hopefully better for him. Yeah, we'll see where it goes, but definitely weird, to have that happen midway through the season. I was thinking, he'd make his way through the whole season and then move back, but yeah, I don't know, man. I think he was pushing his way out prior to. I think part of it was like, hey, like I can feel the writings on the wall, and then there was like, well, for personal reasons, Lucho's not available, and you're like, well, let's wait a second. What's going on here with that?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. A little bit of on the field and off the field, and that it messes with your mental, honestly, a lot as a player. So it kind of just he was done, and so shout out to Lucho, and we enjoyed his time in the MLS. Not sure we'll see him back, but Ryan, what was your card of the week?
A little bit of a lighter note here for my card of the week, Sam. Lawas Abukabar, also for FC Dallas, 2 FC Dallas cards of the week. We're not a supporters podcast for them, but funny moment here. Lawas Abukabar, former Dayton Flyer, shout out Flyers, was wearing his Man of the Match Day cowboy hat. If anyone knows, hopefully this graphic is going to queue up here when you're watching this. This guy's got the largest hair in the MLS. He had it braided. It was sticking all the way up, probably about 1.5 feet above his head, and then was wearing a big old cowboy hat on top of it. Like we've seen, the NFL draft guys wear these small little hats. We've seen the NBA guys that are putting it on their fros. I have never in my life seen someone try to put a hat on like, what was the guy from Hey Arnold? It almost looked like the guy that had the big long. It was just like, what are we doing, man? But it was hilarious.
I wish he would have done what was it a shark, I think, in Toy Story, when he wore like Woody's hat. He was like, howdy, right? Like I wish we would have gotten like one of those clips, or at least that would have been my caption if I was running socials. But yeah, that was a pretty funny moment. You see him like, it was in front of his locker, right? When he had it on. Yeah.
They almost needed like a small little hat for it to sit on top. We just want a small little cowboy hat. But I hope you guys enjoyed looking at that photo. It was pretty awesome moment to see that. But yeah, I just had to shout that out. I thought it was funny. But on the flip side, jersey swap of the week, Sam.
Yeah, jersey swap of the week for me. It's gonna be Steven Jimenez. This kid is quite a week in my eyes. He's earned some more minutes with the first team going forward. He's not going to put up flashy numbers, but he's all over the pitch, making the easy decisions on the ball or making recoveries defensively. 10 total defensive actions in 2 matches for him. And then, man, does he battle? I mean, the highlight for me was him taking on a world-class player in Wilfred Zaha and not backing down. So love what I'm seeing from him lately. Hopefully it can translate. I know we're getting a new transfer here in the midfield, but I thought he played really well during Leagues Cup and then obviously against Charlotte.
Yeah, that's what opportunity creates, is moments where the manager feels comfortable with bringing you in. What other choice did Pat really have in that moment is questionable.
He didn't,
but Steven
well.
earned his minutes, and he, again, next man up, I felt like was serviceable. Obviously, down a man, it's always tough, and especially when you're that young coming into a match where you're seeking a goal as well. But you're right. The best way to get through that is to play simple and to do your job and to listen to the other guys around you. And I felt like Steven did that. The longest stretch of minutes we've seen for him in the first team.
Well, notably too, Ryan, during that Juarez game, right? He came on in the last 20 some odd minutes with and kind of helped Evander, create those 2 goals, right? Him and who else came on during? Was it Stefan Trilla, right? Or who else came on?
At the end of the other game,
the Juarez game. Yeah.
Juarez game. It was Ender and Steven.
Yeah, Ender. So those 2 came on, right? And it ignited something. We were able to tie it up. But yeah, thought Steven played really well.
Yeah, I'm gonna do honorable shout out to Ender too. My jersey swap went a little bit of a different direction, but I felt like Ender is stepping up in a big way for a new player, younger player coming to a different league. Has gelled well. So that was my honorable shout out. But my real jersey swap is going to be the FCC alumni. It's so cool to see these former players just with so much love for this club. We feel it as a fan base. We can see it. How many of these guys now are involved in the academies with, Richie Ryan joining recently. You have Kenny Walker recently joined as well. The likes of Jimmy McLaughlin being a part, Omar Cummings, all of these guys, Ledesma, legends of this team in 10 years that want to be here and just absolutely love the club. I mean, they're now working for the team too. So their whole post-soccer career now, could potentially even the later part of their careers being with us as a player, but now a coach or community relations. But for them to be there, it was special. We had a nice turnout. I felt like seeing Kendall Waston be able to leave his team down in Costa Rica,
He's
able to come in.
He's playing right now.
He's still playing as an active player. And they had a game on Sunday, I believe, or Saturday. And he already had this pre-agreement that he could come in for this moment. So don't tell me like that some of these guys don't care. Like, I don't care the way that we left it. It seems like to me, we do it the right way. Even if it is where these guys leave, they move on. We always try to find them the best situations as much as we can. And you see a lot of these guys coming together, dapping each other up. For them to be able to play together again, you could see the connection. I mean, it was special. It was shades of 2018, 2017 run in US Open Cup. I mean, Corbin Bone with the flick on to Kenny Walker with the ball through. Like, it was just like automatic. It was like watching TST, the last two previous seasons. And I'm sure that's where some of that comes from, is the recent connection. But I thought it was special. I love to see the guys showing up for this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't agree anymore. That was a phenomenal, just moment. Not only, to celebrate the 10 years, but just that in general, to sit there and be like, gosh, the kids that are growing up now, they don't get it. Right. And this was the opportunity for them to go, hey, Dad, like, who are these guys? Right. Or Mom, who are these guys? And be able to, hey, like, these were the guys that laid the foundation for, the Denkes, the Evanders, the Luchos, like guys like that.
Yeah. Respect to all of them, because I still think like those guys set what it meant to be an FC Cincinnati player, like Ledesma had mentioned when we had interviewed him. But Sam, we're going to move on. We had a new signing, unconfirmed. Confirmed. Tom Bogert puts out that a Ghanaian player, Samuel Gidi, so this guy's already Sam's favorite player here. We all know that. Center midfielder. He is coming in. He's 21 from MSK Zelinia, I believe. So over in Slovakia. Fee is rumored to be around $2 million. He joins hopefully on a U22 initiative, which would be the third total player, I guess, we have in the U22, which leads us to think, hey, there's one more U22. Do we go for that? Do we go for a DP player if we have it available? We'll see what happens. But this guy is rumored to be special. He's got more than 100 appearances already in Europe at the age of 21. He can play as the number 6, play as the number 8. He's going to fit well with, Obi, Buka, Anunga. I'm very excited to see this player for several reasons. But what are you thinking about Giddy coming into FC Cincinnati?
I'm giddy, Ryan. I'm absolutely giddy. It was bound to happen. It was one of us. We were either gonna, right?
Dad jokes.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think from what I've seen, obviously the reports from different reporters from Europe are going, gosh, you guys got to steal, because the way this guy can retain the ball, right, is really just incredible. He can win the ball as well, but the ability to play that number 6 and number 8, I think, is going to be crucial. Like you said, we really haven't had a backup for Buka, and even coming into this season, with Obi being out, Anunga now being out, like we need more midfield depth as this season goes on, and hopefully we get this guy a spot here in the next couple weeks as we're working on, international spots and moving this and moving that. Gam tam, wham bam, thank you, ma'am. But yeah, I think he should be pretty good. Ryan, 7th African-based player on our current first team roster, so we're building a lot of chemistry as well on this team.
I hope he can do what we've seen in Ender right away. If he can come in and contribute down the stretch, it's not going to be maybe a ton of minutes, but 15, 20 minutes towards the end of the match to go in and be that ball retention guy that we need when we have a lead, or even the ball winning guy that we see that Obi can do. I think for me, what's special is being an African based player, from Ghana. From I believe is from Ghana, right?
Ghana,
yeah. So from Ghana, learning from Obi, that I think is the biggest thing for me. A guy that plays a similar position, knows how to play in this league, knows what it's like to live now in Cincinnati. So he'll make him feel comfortable. Hopefully that translates well onto the pitch as well. But he's going to feel welcome into the squad and be a solid fit that way. There are multiple big time scouts when this guy is rumored to sign for us that are saying like, we felt like this guy's next move was,
Europe,
Belgian league, Italy, some other European. We were not expecting him to go to the MLS, and how much of a steal it could potentially be. Obviously, he's got to still play and do it, but some of his stats and the data we've seen on this guy, like for ball retention, possession-based player, he's not an advanced, attacking player, but we need a box-to-box midfielder like
does the dirty work,
and does that dirty work, puts in loads of minutes, can go into challenges, not afraid. And I really think this guy might find a nice fit here. And being 21, he's got a ton of potential ahead of him too. So great find by Chris Albright. All together now, if you look at other transfer moves from this past week, Corey Barrett is going out. So that's the notable one. He was traded to San Diego. Honestly, like, pretty solid to get a return out of this.
Yeah.
I felt like he was going to walk free, if anything, but, or we cut his wages loose and say, so be it, we'll eat it. But up to 100,000 in GAM that we might receive, 50,000 this year, potentially 50,000 more for, if he performs or plays a certain amount of matches, probably. We do keep some of his salary. I think he was making roughly about 700,000. So we'll probably have some of that for the rest of the season. In 40 MLS appearances, this guy just unfortunately didn't work out for the squad. He only had 3 goals and 2 assists over those 40 MLS appearances. He played some memorable matches in Champions Cup last year. Just never really gelled. Didn't really see his career continue the way that it had in Houston. He just really couldn't find a dedicated spot, Sam. I think, we had seen him play in Houston and LA more as a winger. And I just don't think his game translates as well as a out and out like wing back or as an out and out striker. We need kind of those, either a dedicated striker or a dedicated, wing back or guy that can, be a little bit of both. And it's unfortunate, but I'm glad to see those moves happen too, because we have to get better. And to get better, we need to subtract some to get better. And also, if you talk about Corey, he grew up around that area. So all in all, he finds a nice piece of business, to get money.
Goes back to Cali.
But also to honor the player. And the players remember that. I think they really, if they could say, hey, I understand the moment. I understand I might be, moved on. Is there any way you could go and at least ask, go and see some of the California teams if they want me? So good bit of business there. Past that, we officially get confirmation. $400,000 was brought in for Thomas Mullers.
Never heard of him. What are you talking about?
Yeah, nice piece of business again. Utilize the mechanisms when you can, Sam. I think everyone can complain about it all they want, and discovery rights. Like this guy has been around longer than the team has been around. Like it's just what the rules are, and Chris knows how to follow the rules, unlike the referees. But the international spot that we get to bring in either Gidi or to bring in Jabari, we bought back for 100,000, which was actually traded at one point to them and now is traded back to us.
Yeah,
there's a lot of international spots.
I think we bought it back for half the price. I believe. Yeah, because we got we sold it to them for 200,000, and then they didn't use it and so we bought it back for $100,000. So we loaned it and saved $100,000. So shout out to Chris.
He's cooking, man. I just
Yeah.
feel solid about some of the moves. But thoughts on the window we had seen from the community, some thoughts on this. We had put that kind of poll out, but I'm interested to see what you think so far with what we got. I think we have about 13 days left in the window as we're recording tonight.
I mean, consensus rate is probably going to be it's the best we could do with what we had. And I know coming into this window, everybody was going, I don't know if we're going to make any moves because of this and that and our, budget constrictions, roster constrictions. Chris finds a way, right? If our team needs to be better, because we all know, ownership knows we are in win now mode, and that's point blank. So Chris made it very apparent that he was going to go out and he was going to do whatever, he needed to do to get us into a winning position, right? That he thought would put us in the best position to either win Supporter Shield or MLS Cup here in the playoffs. So yeah, I think all in all, Ryan, I think it was pretty solid. Now, do we see more? I don't know. It seems like we're taking a while to, find this last international spot for Gidi. So I don't know. We'll see. What are your thoughts?
Dude, I couldn't have said it better. I mean, that was perfect. I think for what we had and what everyone was thinking, it was a nice surprise. And to be honest, we've seen in past GM situations where, we kind of force issues that maybe don't fit long term. But if you look at the guys we brought in, we have a loan for a striker who may not be the best fit, but is the best fit for this team in this moment and the players that we have. So win-win potentially for that. And then if he doesn't work out, he's back to his squad. If you want a purchase option, like I'm sure it's not terribly high, like I mentioned the last episode. For the other guys, they're young players who have loads of potential. So again, like from what we've seen with Ender, a huge win so far. Potentially what we see with Gidi, like he's young, like he's got a lot of good soccer ahead of him. So yeah, I think overall it's very promising. Now, whether or not we get the most out of them is always going to be the question. But for what we had and what we need in this moment, I feel like it's pretty solid. But from the whole community, we heard several A-minuses, 3 different times, a B+, a solid B as well. Time will tell, but excited to see. We did get one that said too early to rate, need to see him on the pitch. That said, props to the front office for being aggressive, which, I think we would all echo. We've seen several MLS teams not even make a single move.
Yeah.
So, the fact that we've been this active shows the willingness to always go at it year after year, honestly, which is refreshing compared to some of the other teams in the city. And then, in Albright, we trust. I think that's the bottom line. He's kept us competitive in a lot of these different competitions. If you look at the roster top to bottom, like if we're all healthy, man, we have like on paper pretty darn good depth at each position, and some young guys now that can potentially start to fill in as we've seen the academy build up, translate to the second team. The Shirilla brothers potentially coming at some point too. Like there's a lot to be excited about, from top to bottom, which is cool. So I think we trend in the right direction. We'll see obviously what the next 2 weeks look like before this window closes. But I don't know. I agree with you. I think we probably won't see a ton more past that. The MLS Cup playoff schedule was released for this season. It's always crazy that it's in October going into December. The matches will start, decision day is the 18th, so the last day of the regular season. Wild card matches on the 22nd. We're doing the stupid best of 3 series for the first round, which makes no sense. Like, why is it a month long that we're doing this? And then MLS finals will be on 12/6, hosted at TQL Stadium.
December 6th. Jeez, Pete.
Right? Hosted at TQL Stadium.
Absolutely. But my goodness, I mean, playing soccer into December, that's
we started in February. It's wild.
Cold as hell.
Wild. But we had FC Cincinnati too, Sam. They're playing as we speak. Also playing another Charlotte team, Charlotte Legacy. So the second team for them. We are 11th, 12th, we're tied in that range for standings at 27 points, but currently we are winning 3-2. Let's hope they can hold on, for the dub. They did get, I think it was a loss against Philly the week before, but solid results for them. 8 out of the 9 past matches have been positive results. Would be cool to see them lock this one in. Schroeder brothers are in there, I believe. We had several, I think, fringe players. I don't think Mama Dem's in it.
Davia scored.
Okay.
Stefan Schroeder scored.
Nice.
But Ryan, if they win this game, they bump up into the playoffs.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. So
right.
like I had said last week, there were like 3 or 4 teams that were tied. They're at the bottom half of the playoff table there. And I think there's some teams sitting at 29 points, but we're sitting at 27. So we get 3 points. We move up into the playoffs.
I like it. I lied to all of you. Kenji scored, so he is playing. Mama Dem's in there. But yeah, that's exciting. I mean, the moment is getting up there for them too, to see them play potentially in playoffs after huge turnover from last season would be special. But then the first team is back, Sam. So match day 29 on Sam's wedding day. I know Sam will be locked in and ready to watch this Portland Timbers match away late night edition MLS After Dark. First time we've ever played in Portland. We've played them 3 times. We've beat them 2. We've tied once, which happened to be for MLS is back during COVID. But man, the biggest storyline, Evander back in Portland. What a moment this is going to be, Sam.
I mean,
you think that he gets the Lucho treatment by the Portland fans?
The drama going on in Portland right now, Ryan, is exponential. What a time for Evander to come back to Portland and play in this game. They just had Santi Moreno, transferred to Fluminense as well after he forced his way out of Portland. Sound familiar? But he didn't show up for a Leagues Cup match against Club America last week. So yeah, tensions are very high. I hope that Portland fans don't take it out on Evander, but I mean, seeing how Evander kind of left Portland as well, it probably gave them PTSD.
On one hand, this guy's so chill. How can you hate Evander?
I know we're sitting here on the other side going, man, we love him. I don't know how you guys.
Then, I see what Lucho's situation was, and they offered Evander a new contract. The offer maybe wasn't as good as he wanted. They didn't really show total ambition in the club. Ultimately, we don't know exactly what happened, but clearly Evander was upset. And whether or not the fans had seen it that way or not as well, I think they might even be on the side of Evander saying pay this guy, do what it takes to keep him around. And for him coming here, everyone was obviously super bummed. And I don't know necessarily if you're going to see as much hostility. Honestly, I think you'll probably see you'll hear some potential boos, but it's not going to be the Lucho full treatment that we had because, for whatever reason, we decided to boo. Yeah. That just, it happens to be what the city does in some situations. But I think it'll be a huge moment for him, especially because if you look at the Charlotte match, Sam, Evander hit his 5th yellow card of the season, and it could have led to a suspension. Now, there's been several matches between some cards, so we're good. On cards, I don't think he's going to be suspended. But can you imagine if he was suspended for this match and wasn't able to go back and play there? That would have been another kind of scenario, right? That the same thing that happened to Lucho, where he got suspended the game before, so that way he could probably play against Cincinnati. But Ryan, another big storyline in this one, Anunga. Are we going to get a however from the MLS rescinding this red card? It was a reference to the center referee who made this dumb decision during the Charlotte match. I don't know. The problem is they will look at what the card was actually for, which was for the tackle, which doesn't look good. But if you can somehow rescind the fact that you clearly missed what happened before it, then yeah. But the review was for the card, and the card was the foul. But I need some sort of statement. It's not going to change the outcome. It's not going to change the fact that we feel crap about the result. What if they say they're sorry? Doesn't change anything. There's gonna be zero accountability. No accountability from Pro about this. Nothing. No statement, no nothing. Like, we're gonna fully support our referee for his decision.
They're just gonna block us again, right? If we tweet about it, they're just gonna block us again.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We're on block right now. So
Oh, we are? Okay.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, it's a big storyline, Sam. Anunga's out of this one. Is Luca Orishano gonna be healthy? He pulled up with some hammy tightness as well. You gotta go cross the country, play on turf.
Yeah.
Play 3 hours behind,
Mhm.
your typical Eastern Conference time zone. There's a lot going against us in this one. At least we have a dedicated 5 days potentially to get healthy. I think Luca is going to be probably a fringe decision. I think if I had to bet, like, they're going to take it easy. He's going to come off the bench. If I had to guess, I bet Dado is probably going to start in the middle with Buka.
Denke to start.
I think he plays a half. I don't think it showed a lot to me that he didn't put him in when the red card happened.
Yeah.
So I don't
Well,
think
would you rather have him start or sub in again?
Probably sub.
Gotcha.
Yeah, probably sub, but the question would be, like, Kai Kamara, like, has to start. There's nobody else to really play up there.
Yeah.
Santos doesn't look like he's going to be able to even start there. So, like, who do we play up top with him? Like, Kubo's not healthy either. Hey, I don't envy this decision, and it might come down to, like, just seeing the hot young player, which right now is Mambadem potentially. I don't think you see Davia play or start. Sharilla, I don't know about that. Honestly, the most likely scenario is that we see a one striker system with Denke, and then we maybe add potentially one more player, like Ender. I could see Ender and Evander next to each other is probably the more likely situation. Kai Kamara with Dado and Buka behind him. And then, from there, whether it's Brad Smith potentially on the width. If Orishano can't go, maybe you put Evander or Ender out wide. That could be the other thought. But you got to see some sort of rotation. I don't know if Steven will start in Portland. But, dude, what a crucial moment this is. I think Portland has had solid results of late. Like, they've moved on in Leagues Cup. They look fairly deadly on their attack. Their defense is suspect, but, we don't
Their
do well.
Last match, they lost 2-0 to FC Dallas. That was their last match.
We just don't historically do well, on turf, especially, going out west like we are. But, dude, why not, like, just go for it? For me, that's why my prediction for this one was a 1-1 draw. But it looks like you might have something a little bit different.
I go 2-0 here. I think we get some magic from Evander being back in Portland.
That's a great job.
That helps, I think. But yeah, I think we pull it out. I think we do. It's one of those where maybe we get a goal before half and you don't see a second goal until like the 80th minute or something like that. Kind of a pull the goalie type situation. So yeah,
I would be ecstatic, dude, to see a win here. Like, there's a lot that tells me,
like you said, changes the tides, right? Flips the script in the season and gives you the momentum kind of going back the other way now.
Yeah, I mean, like, so we have Portland, we have LA away a couple weeks later.
Yeah,
we have several West Coast games that are, in some ways of thinking of it, as like a trap game. But yeah, every match counts from this point on, and you have to take advantages of it. And honestly, like, getting your players up for the match, like, I think Evander might have a message in the locker room, like, you guys know I'm going to be coming out here hard. You guys better come out here.
Match my energy. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, well, and honestly, he doesn't even need to necessarily say it, because a lot of times our players respond well when he shows it.
So do you think if he scores, do you think we see more fist pumps than we saw during the FC Juarez game?
No, he'll be respectful. He seems like a pretty chill guy. I think he would probably be like, all right.
Calma.
If he hits the game winner, though, on a free kick, then you might see a little emotion happening out of Evander, especially with how that guy was upset about the calls against him at the end of the match.
Yeah.
So I think you see a little bit of heat when he's really feeling like it's not going, our way. But yeah, dude, I would be ecstatic for 3 points on the road in this one. following this one, if we look ahead, we have NYCFC at home, Philly at home, Nashville at home. Like, you have to circle some of these matches at some point and say, like, you have to start stacking up the wins if we want to
Gotta win
go
at
and
home.
do this.
Yep.
So, because the other MLS Eastern Conference teams, they've
Yep.
been showing out week after week. There hasn't really been a ton of slip.
Miami still has 3 games.
Do they really? Even though they
Yeah.
just got killed by Orlando.
Yeah. So, if they win all 3 games, they'd be tied with Philly right now.
That's wild.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, again, we got to go and seize it. We got to be proactive and not more, reactive to it. So, yeah, I think that's kind of a good cap on Portland. Hopefully we get a dub there. But close us out, Sam. What do you have for the trivia question and answer?
Yes, sir. When was the last time FC Cincinnati was shown a red card this season, and which player? Ryan said earlier this season. And I believe you said Mr. Miles Robinson was that player. Ryan, it was Gilberto Flores, and it was March 15th against Charlotte FC.
Oh, wild. 2 red cards against them?
Yeah.
So what was Flores' second yellow?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, it was like on a late tackle in the second half.
Yep.
And we had already been down like 1-0 or something.
It was the 83rd minute. He got his
Yeah.
second yellow.
Wild. So 2 red cards against a single team in a season.
Interesting.
Something about Charlotte, man. The results this year just didn't show up against them, but hey, they sit below us in 6. So talk to us when you're up a little bit higher there, Charlotte. But yeah, nope. I like the card. That was a good one. Interesting to hear about that. It's always good to see that we've only had like 1 this season as well. Because
You've been disciplined.
It's been a little bit different, but yeah. Anything you want to add before we close it out here, Sam?
No, I got nothing. I hope this next week is better for us. Like you said, coming down to the stretch of games, and we just get back to where we belong up top. Sucks being second.
Yeah, we're right in the hunt though, and we're in striking distance. Obviously we gotta get a favorable result, and we need Philly to slip up again.
Yep.
But we'll see what happens. All we can do is control our own destiny, like you said earlier on. So we're up 4-2 now. The FC Cincinnati 2 team is winning pretty handedly. So hopefully they can again close that one out.
Ryan, do you have a glimpse? Anybody listening, what next week's going to look like?
Yeah, so a little bit different for you guys. I will have our friend Kevin on with doing an episode. Shout out to Sam on getting married here this coming weekend. FC Cincinnati go reward him with a dub. But yeah, we'll have a little bit of we'll have a similar layout to what's going on, just a different partner for that one. So stay tuned. We'll be around. Go check us out again. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Chatterbox, wherever you find all of your podcasts, and we'll keep rolling out this content for you. Thanks again for joining us.